What is up, Natty Champ, Kirsten Simms? Thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Good. Well, I know we talked a little bit about it off air, but you've almost lost your voice because of probably all the celebrating. So the goal is to make you lose your voice by the end of this podcast.
Yeah, seriously, it's been a whirlwind the past couple days.
So awesome. And you just coming off a very recent national championship win. Has it sunk in yet that you are a two-time national champion?
No, I mean, honestly, it hasn't totally sunk in yet. I feel like the next couple days will kind of dim down a little bit, so that's kind of where I'll probably realize it a little bit more. But I think just our team as a whole has been riding such a high the past couple days that you don't actually realize the perspective of how amazing it is that we just accomplished that, and we're just having fun with each other and stuff. So.
Totally. Like the goal that you guys have been working towards from summer workouts, right? Is so
Yeah.
cool that like now you get to live in the moment where you get to celebrate that. So just wondering like when you got off the plane and you arrived back at school, what's like the last couple of days been like?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've just kind of been spending time with each other, taking the trophy around Madison. I mean, Madison's obviously such a big city, and we have a lot of supporters there and fans, so it's been cool to be able to kind of share that with the people there. It's a little different this time because it's spring break, so no students are really on campus, but so we've kind of had a little bit more to ourselves, but it's just been fun to kind of go around and show the town it. And then we had a little fan event the other night at Le Bon at our rink, which was cool because our fans honestly travel with us everywhere, and almost the entire rink at Ritter at the national championship game was filled of Wisconsin fans. So just to get to share that with them and kind of have that little moment and show how important they are to us has been super cool. But yeah, I mean, we've just been having a good time the last 2 days, to say the least.
That's so awesome. It is probably funny to come back to campus like with the trophy and be like everybody and they're all gone.
Yeah,
That
literally.
was my experience. My freshman year was during COVID, and so like number one, there weren't that many people just hanging around campus, but number two, school had already gotten out and we had won the championship. We got back, we're like, where's everybody? Like truthfully, like the people in the surrounding town like really didn't care. So I mean, but just be prepared. Like once everybody gets on campus, it is going to be crazy town, and you guys are going to have to relive all of that. So that is just so exciting.
No, yeah, it's been awesome so far, but we're really expecting that when all the students get back, we know what's coming.
Good. Well, get ready. It's going to be so fun. But something just so special about that game was that you scored not one, but basically two game winning goals. And so, could you just walk me through that first penalty shot, what that moment was like?
Yeah, so this is what I've been telling almost everybody is initially Layla Edwards on my team had seen that the girl in Ohio had covered it in the crease, and she's the one that came back to the bench and was like yelling at her coaches and was like, "We gotta challenge it, we gotta challenge it, like somebody covered the puck, like whatever." And so from there, our coaches end up challenging it, and everybody's like already looking at me because I'm kind of like I like to take penalty shots. I like to do shootouts. Like that's kind of part of my thing. So everybody's looking at me and they're like, "Sims, it's gonna be you. It's gonna be you." Like blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I can't think about this right now. Like I was like, I need a second. And then they ruled it as like a successful challenge, and I like the penalty shot was like obviously announced that we were getting one. And so I'm like standing there at the bench and everybody's already like chirping, like saying like, Sims, you got to do it. Like just throwing confidence at me too. Like obviously putting a lot of trust in me. And then my coach was like, "Who wants it?" And then that's where like I threw my hand up because I was like, everyone's already saying my name. Like he's gonna want to see a little confidence if he's gonna put somebody out for the shot in the national championship game. And then at that moment, I was like, okay, this is really happening. And so, yeah, from like that moment until I actually took the shot, it was everybody on the bench. A few of the girls came up to me individually and were just really hyping me up and trying to really boost my confidence and kind of make me feel like even if I were to miss, like that it wouldn't be my fault to not take the heat of it to try and take the pressure off my back a little bit in that sense. And that was really helpful going into it because it was just able to calm me, and some of the girls were throwing some jokes at me to try and get a smile out of me and just loosen me up a little bit because they knew if I were able to be loose, I would be able to complete it. So that was kind
Wow.
of just, yeah.
That
How
is
I look at it.
incredible. Well, to the people watching on TV like myself, and probably to anybody else who's seen the clip, your head coach basically says, but we couldn't hear it, we just kind of lip read, like, who wants it, right? But you were saying, even before he said that, I had teammates already giving me confidence, and then you're like, all right, I got to put my hand up. But
Yeah.
just when you're sitting in that moment before you go out there on the ice, you said that you had teammates, building your confidence and, cracking jokes even too, which I think is so awesome. I've definitely know what teammates teammates for me, that would be that I would need that from. But how did you like gain the strength and have the mental focus in that moment to execute your shot?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it was stemming a lot from my teammates. Like, honestly, like in a moment like that, like you need the support. Like you can't just like feel like the heavy pressure, and you need that from your teammates. And I would do that for any girl that would be picked other like if it wasn't me, and so just to know that they all had my back, and like two or three of my closest friends on the team really just came up to me and like gave me a little pep talk, and that was like really encouraging, obviously. And then my one, not like to get into this early, but my one teammate that I ended up going to the ultimate training camp with, she like came over and like told me like some things that we learned at that camp just to kind of get my mind right. And after that moment, I was like, all right, like I got this kind of thing. And then just being able to skate away from the bench and know my whole team was cheering me on and like had my support and had my back, like going through the shot, it was just like, I don't know. I just couldn't really think about it in the moment because it's like you overthink it for 1 second and you could screw it up. And so I just kind of had to stick with the confidence I was feeling and the energy I was feeling for my teammates and go through with it. And it worked out, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
Well, your shot was sick. And like, I don't know too much about hockey. I never played hockey, but like, that was baller. Okay. It was so cool to watch just as like a sports fan. But I would love to know a little bit about maybe who your teammate was that said that about the ultimate training camp and maybe like what to the effect of what that she said to you, because I think what's really powerful is when athletes, you can get hyped up as much as you want from your teammates, right? But there's something different and there's a level of power that comes from someone who's speaking faith into your life.
yeah, 100%. I mean, her name's Kelly Gorbatenko, so she's a sophomore on the team. I'm like a junior, so I'm a year older than her. But we went to the camp this summer together, and we weren't really that close last year. But then after that camp, we have been like two peas in a pod all year, pretty much. And so, I mean, she always knows kind of like the right things to say, just in general. When I start to get frustrated, like we always do, like at the camp, there's like we talk about our truth, and so you have like a truth that you always like have to say at the camp, and it gets very repetitive, but it's supposed to become muscle memory. And so she'll always be like throwing that at me, or like she'll throw a Bible verse at me, like one of my favorite Bible verses, and just be like, remember it, or like just little things every now and then. So in that moment, she was just like, remember, like God's with you, you're more than this, like you're bigger than this, like this doesn't define you, whatever happens. And she was like, and then she's like, just remember your truth, basically. And so we just kind of had that little moment, which was like super special to me, because like I know I can go to her immediately when I want to take it into like faith perspective, especially going into a situation like that. And obviously knew that it is hockey, and it is, but that was obviously a huge moment. And so being able to like lean on the Lord still in a moment like that is like super special, to be able to have that little like bond with one of your teammates, knowing that you can go to her for that type of support, let alone all aside from all the other encouragement, but just to have that little extra faith bit in it was super special. And I think that really just kind of settled the nerves even more.
Yeah, that is so incredible, and it's so cool that you have that so close to you on your team. And what I loved, what you just said was like, she was telling you how like you're not defined by this, right? Like you're not worth this one moment, but like number one, you still were able to capitalize on it. And it was so cool. And usually people are giving you that advice after something really hard. And I love that she came to you with that beforehand, and that's what freed you. But that wasn't the only goal that you scored, right? Like you scored the actual game-winning goal at the end. And I just would love to know, like when your team is rushing the ice and everybody's jumping on each other, what were their sounds? Were people crying? Was it screaming? Like, what was that like?
I mean, I think it was just all of the above, because we had gone through, like, that was such a battle of a game, and it literally came down to the 18 seconds for us to even, like, stay in it. Like, we were about to lose the national championship with 18 seconds left. Like, we could have scored maybe on the 6-on-4, but, like, who knows? Like, so without that penalty shot, like, we didn't know what was going to happen. And so I think all of us were just, like, in shock. And, like, by at the start of overtime, and we were like, we can actually do this now. Like, we were all just like, it was like another like vote of confidence that we got. And so after that one went in, everybody's faces were just like I was sitting there, I was like, oh my god, like we just did it. Like I was like literally in pure shock. We have like seniors crying, like I'm jumping up on girls, like they're like picking me up and stuff, and like it was just awesome because it was so special for our whole team, and like that was what we wanted to like finish out the season. Obviously everybody wants it, but we had just had such an incredible season all year, and to be able to still come out on top in that big of a battle of a game was just so special for that group. And so I think everybody was just kind of having the same feeling of like in shock and stuff, but it was such a special moment and still so surreal, honestly, just remembering even like the jumping on each other and stuff because everybody's just like, oh, like we did it, like we literally
Yeah.
did it, and we like couldn't get past it for probably like 10 to 15 minutes.
That's so awesome. And I think something cool about just like the shock factor is that it'll settle in. Like you'll have the rest of your spring at school, you'll have homework, like other things in life will come up, but you'll always have these wins to look back on. And yes, the rings fade and championships, like at the end of the day, it's not what life's made of, but it's a gift from the Lord of just like pure joy of like, man, that was so cool. Like, how could we do that? So you will experience multiple moments of shock and awe. Like when you're 30, man, oh my gosh, could you believe we won the national championship and I had a huge part in it? Like you will have those moments in your life, and it truly is a gift from the Lord that you get to look back and have that piece of joy in those memories. So I'm so excited for you. But you did talk about just the season as a whole, right? And so it's not always championship winning moments. So how did you lean on your faith probably throughout the entire season this year?
Yeah, so I mean, I think this summer is when I kind of really took a huge step in my faith journey by going to the Ultimate Training Camp, and I think that really taught me that I would at times like be idolizing hockey and just rely on like my purpose and like who I am was based around the sport, and I didn't really like understand that like how much bigger of a purpose you have when you just put it all into God and that He's like your AO1, your audience of one. And so learning that new perspective at the camp and realizing how freeing it is and how much easier it is to actually compete is something that I was able to take into this year, where it was almost like to me it didn't matter, like losing, winning, adversity, whatever, like you go through it. I went through it at the start of the year, like with different slumps, like as a player, just getting frustrations, and in the past it would take over and like completely like ruin my days in, day out. Like I would just be in bad moods, like frustrated all the time, like battling like why is this going on, like why does this have to happen. And then this year I got to completely flip my new perspective on it and be able to put all my frustrations, all my like problems, like, and I would just take it right with the Lord and take it right with God. And it's so much easier because it was so much more freeing. Like it wasn't just controlling me every single day. Like I wasn't just stuck in all these different like being in like bad moods or upset around the rink. Like it was like away from the rink, I have my time with God and I can put it onto Him and trust His process, and I can still show up as me and be the best teammate and be the best version of myself every single day at the rink, because I know those problems will get taken care of, because like if you follow His path, He's not going to let you fail. And I think being able to have that was just so freeing this year and just made hockey as a whole so much more fun. And at the end of the day, it kind of just ended up letting me be like myself and fully comfortable around my teammates this year. And I've just honestly had such a fun year, not only on the ice with winning, obviously that's fun, but I think more so off the ice and just kind of how I've enjoyed being around my teammates this year.
Yeah, that is so cool to hear, just about like the difference in like when you have relied on the Lord and relied on your faith as an outlet too. Like obviously like doing everything with Him, but the outlet that it can provide alongside your hockey. But then also you're saying like it made life outside of hockey so much more fun. And so I love that you just, showed the difference, because I think that's really going to help someone who's maybe just new to college sports and is like, whoa, what did I just jump into, right? Or has been in the thick of it and they have a month left in their season. I really think that's going to help someone. But thank you for sharing that. And I would just love to know, how did you get connected and hear about Ultimate Training Camp?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy actually. So I went home for like most of the end of spring and then a little bit of summer, and like we'll come back to campus and train and stuff, but I kind of stayed home for a little bit of summer this past year. And so I have a few friends in Minnesota, and so I'm from Michigan. I have a few friends in Minnesota, and my trainer's out in Minnesota. One of my trainers is out in Minnesota, so I went down there for a week and was spending time with the family I'm really close with, and then met some other girls that I ended up becoming friends with. And I was talking to one, and she was like, her name is Trishana Tater, and so we call her Tater just for the purpose of the story. And she was like, she could just tell there was something like deeper inside. She was like, there's just something that needs to like, something needs to come out of her. Like something needs to like, like she needs a little bit like a push. And so we actually had a really long talk, and it's like a funny story looking back on it now, because it was like a 3-hour conversation. And she was like, I went to Ultimate Training Camp last year. It changed my life forever. And she's like, I think this is exactly what you need to do. So it was a week and a half before camp. and she was like, she was an intern at it. She was like, I'm going to get you set up with it. I'm going to get you all like locked in. Like, we're going to make this work. Like, all you got to do is show up. Like, she was like, I'll figure everything else out for you. All you got to do is show up. And I was like, after that push, I was like, I really just like felt like I needed to take that leap of faith. And I really had wanted to grow deeper in my faith, because I was like, I was missing that little something. I was missing that light. I was missing that little fire. And that was literally exactly what I needed. And ever since I went to the camp, my life has completely changed.
Wow, that is so powerful. That is so cool. And I love, it's always nice when someone's like, you just get yourself there and we'll take care of it, right?
Yeah, no,
Number
really.
one. But man, that is so cool that just you said that your life has been changed by that camp. And so I would just ask, like, I know you said something that your friends have said to you in that moment, right? Just from the camp. But when you look back, what's maybe like one takeaway that you have from going, or maybe instead like some advice that you have for someone who is on the fence about taking that leap of faith to go to a retreat or a camp, or even just like their athletes in action or their FCA at
Yeah.
their school? What would be like a little nudge that you would give them to take that chance and go?
Yeah, I mean, like it's the same for me. Like I didn't go to AIA at all last year. Didn't even know what it was really. I mean, and I grew up Catholic my whole life, and I still was not like I was like I don't know what any of this is. And so I think if you're still trying to find that little light, that little fire, it doesn't only bring you closer to God, but it also brings you a community of other people who have that relationship with God and are able to push you in ways that you didn't know you could be pushed. And you get to see other people live out like Christ and walk in faith, and you get to do that with each other. And I think that's the most special thing is going to those camps. You don't only learn things for yourself, but you meet other people that are walking in the same journey as you, and you get to have those relationships forever, because like relationships in like Christianity and with those people, those last a lifetime. You're never losing those people. Like I was super close with a bunch of people there, and we may not text every day or every once a week, but I could pick up the phone and call them, and they would answer right away, and we could probably talk for 3 hours. And it's like those special connections, like you can't really find with just anybody. So I think that's honestly the biggest thing. And then obviously you grow a lot deeper in your faith, and you learn a lot of things about yourself that you might not necessarily know right away. But I think the community is the biggest part.
That's cool. You're so spot on with the like relationships lasting forever. I was at Boston College's Athletes in Action the other night, and that was something. I'm like the one couple people that's like graduated and was helping out that night. And so I said, you guys, I might have seen people once a week here that I've rarely had time to hang out with outside of this
Yeah.
group, seeing them Monday night. But out of school, out of graduation, they're the people that I'm texting, and they're the people that I'm telling, like, hey, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like, sharing things that are exciting in my life, sharing the hard things. And so you're so right. Like, those are the relationships that you're going to have forever.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's super cool for me because like I have my teammate that I got to share it with, and then I have all these other people that I just one call away, and we pick it right back up where it left off. So
That's awesome. Well, Kirsten, I usually start every podcast and I ask my guests, what are you all about right now? And sometimes they say their sport, sometimes it's something about their faith, sometimes it's a snack. But I had to ask you about the natty, so we had to get to that first. So, what are you all about right now?
I mean, I don't know, it's a tough one because obviously the natty has been just such a whirlwind the past couple of
Getting your
days.
voice
But
back, maybe some green tea and
yeah,
honey.
seriously, seriously, something to soothe it finally. Maybe not talking for 24 hours after this, but
Just walk around when everybody gets on campus and they're asking you about like the goals. Just be like,
yeah, yeah, no response, no, just mute for the next couple of days now. But I mean, I'm looking ahead we have Worlds coming up for USA, so that will be cool to go to and be in. And then kind of, I don't know, I think it's just, everything's just a blur right now for the past couple of days because of
hey,
winning,
good.
so I
That's a
really have
very
something set on to.
That's a very fair answer. Very fair answer. But you did mention USA, and I know this has been a really cool experience for you. So just thinking back to your times wearing the USA across your chest, do you have a standout memory or a favorite moment with that team?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously been a few, and it's new because this is my first full season with them so far. So my first Worlds with them was last year, and we came up short and lost in the finals. But I just think it was really cool to be able to learn from a bunch of the older girls and to get to play with girls that I looked up to when I was like younger, and now to be on a team with them and get to learn from them in an environment like that at the highest level is honestly something that you can take little things away every single day. So I think that's honestly been most special to me is like just making those relationships with some of the older girls and getting to learn from them, not things like just on the ice, but off the ice as well. Like, you can learn so much because they've been through other stages of life that like I haven't hit yet. So it's cool to kind of have those little snippets from them and get to take the opportunity to learn from them when I get those chances to wear the jersey.
It's great that you're saying that because a lot of young hockey players might look at you and be like, oh, Kirsten's got it all figured out. She's scoring all these game-winning goals. She's won the Natty again. Like, and you're here saying, no, I want to learn from the older girls. Like, I'm not done as a hockey player learning how to, skill-wise, but also life-wise. And so I think what you just said is so key because the greatest players and truly, like, the greatest humans never think that they're too good for wisdom, too good for learning new things. And so, or even just as athletes, new skills. That was one of the things that I took from my freshman year at Boston College is I saw the fifth years and the grad students and the seniors, like they were staying extra, learning new skills, practicing new things, trying trick shots. Like, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so I think that was just so great of you to say because people are going to look at you and be like, oh, she doesn't need anything else, right? Like, she doesn't need to be taught this or that. And so I love that you said that. But I would love to just ask you a little bit more about those relationships on USA Hockey because I did have the opportunity to interview a USA Hockey player. Unfortunately, you played her in this last game, Joy Dunn. She is so awesome. I had the best time talking to her. And, like, truthfully, like, I had joy after talking to her. So I was like, this makes a lot of sense that is your name. But what has it been like just to be on a USA Hockey team at the highest level with people who you can really relate to on that believer level?
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. And obviously, like you said, she's such an incredible human, like top to bottom. You have one conversation with her, you're walking away with a smile on your face. Like, I love her to death. I mean, she's truly incredible. And it's been nice because we might not have been that close before it, but now I see her a lot more because obviously we're on like that team together, and some of the younger girls like to hang out obviously more together just because we're closer in age. But yeah, getting to like relate on a believer level is super nice to have that with her because she is very deep in her faith and very strong in it, and so it's awesome to learn from her honestly because I get to learn and take away little things that she tells me all the time. And then for me to get to share my experience at the Ultimate Training Camp was awesome because she was just super invested in that and was super happy that I went and was pumped for me and was excited to hear about it. So getting to talk to her about that and really just tell her deeper like how much it really meant for me and how much it really changed my life, like, I don't know. And it's just little things like that too. Like, you walk out of conversations with other believers and you just have that pure joy like immediately. And so I think that's one thing that I get from her every time is that every conversation I leave happy and always enjoyed having a conversation with her. So it is definitely nice to have that on the team. And like you said, she's an amazing person. So just overall.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm so glad that she and you both came on this show. I feel like I hit the jackpot. I was telling my team earlier, I was like, I don't know what I did that I got to have like two of the most impressive hockey players in women's college hockey, but then also like humans. I'm like, that's the Lord because I like did not plan for this to come up, and so just really cool that got to have both of you on this podcast and introduce you to the audience. But I would just love to know a little more hockey sense before your games. Do you wear headphones or no headphones?
Headphones.
All right, so what are you listening to?
So we have a little joke on our team. We like to get low to get high. So I'll start with like some Adele.
Okay.
And then I'll do like a little country, and then I'll get into like my EDM remix, like crazy stuff that I get tripped about.
You ramp it up.
Yeah.
That's a real thing. I forget what year it was when I was in college, but somebody did tell me that like you need to have your hypest music at like a certain point of your warm up. Yeah. So you're dead on it. That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. Well, just one more question for you because I know you need to get back to the celebrating and the victory tour and figure out how to get the voice back before everybody comes on campus. But you already have one ring and you're going to get this new national championship ring. So what finger are you going to get it sized for?
I haven't decided yet. Honestly, that's a good question. I don't even know what my other one's on right now. It might be my pointer. Maybe I would do my other pointer finger on my other hand.
Well, you could do this.
Or I could do two hands. Yeah, I could do both. That's true. I would have to move my Aura ring, but that's fine.
Uh-oh. Sorry, Aura.
Yeah, seriously, getting kicked out. Yeah, I got to figure that one out. That's a good question. Should probably start
So,
thinking about it.
hey, you got time. They gotta do the whole design and everything on that. But seriously, Kirsten, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I know it was this like such an exciting week for you. So thank you for sharing it and sharing your heart with the Sports Spectrum audience. I really hope that there are some specifically young hockey players that can look to you and see you as a role model, because I know I'm cheering you on, and go Badgers. It's so awesome.
Yeah, thank you. This was awesome. Thanks for having me.